In today's show, the Trailblazers' schedule is about to lighten up. With a home-heavy January, there's a big opportunity in front of them. If they're going to climb in the standings, it starts right now. Welcome to Locked On Blazers. Let's get into it.
You are Locked On Trailblazers, your daily Portland Trailblazers podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What up, world? It's your past first point guard and Trailblazers reporter, Mike Richmond. Listen to another episode of Locked On Blazers, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, available wherever you get podcasts and also on YouTube. Thanks for making this show your first listen every single day. Free on all platforms, 5 days a week, coming at you every single weekday. So why don't you start each day with it, make it your first listen. It's Locked On Blazers, your team every day. In today's show, got a fun one for you. If you are a regular listener to this very podcast, I've been telling you nonstop that January is home heavy. I've been saying it so much that you might have yelled into your headphones from time to time, how home heavy is it? Or if you're less corny, you're like, Mike, we know. Or give us the specifics. Any number of things you could have yelled into your headphones. If you listen to me every day, I'm sure you do a lot of yelling at things I say. And I appreciate you very much for listening. But what I want to do in today's show is break down the schedule ahead because it really is softer and it's an opportunity in front of the Blazers. It is a chance to, I don't think fatten up is the right word, but it's a chance to solidify yourself in the crowded Western Conference and move up, not down in the standings. And the Blazers need to be, this is their chance to do it because it gets tough again in March, a bunch of road games at the end of the year. So if they're going to make a move or if they're going to solidify themselves very, very squarely and safely in that playoff picture, the next 6 weeks is when it happens. From now until the All-Star break is when it happens. So let's get into January. The Blazers play their final game of December, final game of 2022 is Friday evening in San Francisco against the Golden State Warriors. They'll play, that is their first of 6 consecutive games against teams that are below 500. They got to take advantage now. But that road game is one of not too many that they will play on the road in January. They play 15 games. So that's over the next 16 games, 11 at home, 5 on the road. But if you after Golden State on Friday, 11 home games, 4 road games in all of January. 4 road games in all of January, including this stretch with 6 straight against below 500 teams. At Golden State, back here home against the Pistons on Monday, then a little 3-game road trip. Minnesota, Indiana, Toronto. All winnable games. Toronto's probably a little better than the record, but they have struggled. Minnesota just can't get right. Indiana is coming back to earth. They're not a very good basketball team. Then they're back at home for 4 straight, starting with Orlando. And then by far the toughest part of their schedule in January, is a stretch from January 12th until January 19th. It's the second week of January. That's when it gets absolutely the toughest. Cleveland at home, a back-to-back home games against Dallas on a Saturday-Sunday weekend set against the Dallas Mavericks. At Denver on a one-off that following Tuesday, and then Thursday they play the 76ers at home. That's the stretch against good teams. Cleveland is good. They're like, I think they've slipped a little bit since they lost to the Brooklyn Nets, but at one point they had the best net rating in the NBA. They're like sneaky championship good. They're a very good basketball team. The thing they can't do is guard big wings. So Jeremy Grant, go off, King. Dallas, they're missing some parts, but they can. Luka Doncic, pretty good. He had 60, 20, and 10 last night. He can win you some basketball games. 2 against Dallas, those are tough. At Denver, that's tough, and Philly is tough. Following that, the Lakers, Spurs, Jazz, Raptors, and Hawks. Among those, only the Jazz have a winning record. That ends January with 6 consecutive home games. It is easy for them, or at least it should be on paper. It's easier for them. After that Golden State game, like I mentioned, 11 out of 15 are at home, and with a little mini 3-game road trip, Minnesota, Indiana, and Toronto. Then from January 10th until the All-Star break, the Blazers play 4 total road games. From January 10th to the All-Star break, 4 total road games. From January 10th until February 1st to close out the last 3 weeks of January, from the 10th until the start of February, 1 road game. That's that game in Denver. That's it. That's it. It is right there for them. It is right there for them. I don't mean to paint home games as like wins, like inherent wins. The Blazers are 8-6 at home. It's not like they've dominated these teams, but you get the Pistons at home, you get the Magic at home, you get the Spurs at home. You get there are some games that you just chalk up as absolute wins. You find a way to win some of these tougher games. Cleveland, at home is an easier win. Obviously, they lost in Cleveland earlier this year. Dallas played one competitive game, one beat down against the Mavs. Find a way to at least split those home games. At Denver, we'll see what happens, but at Philly in Portland, then the close of the month is just so crucial. Lakers, Spurs, Jazz, Raptors, Hawks, all winnable games. The Hawks, as I'm recording this, are a 500 team. So you close up the year, close up the month with 4 out of 6 against teams below 500, 5 out of 6 against teams 500 or worse. The only team with a winning record at home during a 6-game homestand, as we stand right now, are your Utah Jazz, who are right there with the Blazers at teetering on just winning record. They're 19-17 as I record this. All winnable games to close the month. It is a winnable stretch with a handful of road games early, and it gets really soft at the end of the month. If you are going to do it, it is right now. That's what I want to talk about in the second segment. I don't see this as a chance the Blazers can run away and hide. The West is way too crowded, but this is an opportunity to move up in the standings, and it's an opportunity to move up in the standings just based on what's happening in the league. Let's talk about that in the second segment. But first, I want to tell you that today's episode is brought to you by Rocket Money. If your New Year's goals are to manage your budget better and save money, you need Rocket Money. Rocket Money, formerly known as Truebill, is a personal finance app that helps you find and cancel your unwanted subscriptions, monitors your spending, and helps you lower your bills all in one place. Over 80% of people have subscriptions they forgot about, like a streaming service that you bought to watch just one show or a free trial that you never even used. Rocket Money will quickly and easily identify your subscriptions for you so you can stop paying for the ones you don't want. Rocket Money makes canceling subscriptions as easy as a click of a button. Simply find the subscription you don't want, press cancel, and Rocket Money will cancel it for you. No more long hold times with customer service, tedious emailing, all of that. Rocket Money will take care of it. Over 3 million people have used Rocket Money, and they're saving the average person up to $720 per year. I've used Rocket Money. It is super simple just to get your eyeballs on all of your subscriptions quickly. I am a mid-range millennial, and I am someone who has a lot of digital subscriptions. It was quick to say, here's what I got, here's what I'm paying for. Under 15 minutes, it's all there on my phone, an easy-to-use app. So stop throwing your money away. Cancel unwanted subscriptions. Manage your expenses the easy way by going to rocketmoney.com/LockedOnNBA. That's rocketmoney.com/LockedOnNBA. One more time for you, rocketmoney.com/LockedOnNBA. All right. The opportunity is there for your Portland Trailblazers. It is right there for them with a home-heavy January. 11 of their next 16 at home. And after this Golden State game, get a weekend off. 11 of 15 home in January. It is Capricorn season and a time for the Blazers to be grounded and take advantage of what's ahead of them. Shout out to my astrology hoop heads out there. There's got to be one of you listening that appreciated that reference. Maybe one. We'll see. Regardless of whether you or someone you love has taught you about astrology, this is an opportunity in front of the Blazers, real deal Holyfield, a chance for them to move up in the standings. And it's not just because of the 6 consecutive games against teams with losing records. Win the easy ones. TCB games. Take care of business. It's not just because there's basically a week of tough games sandwiched between stretches where you're playing teams with losing records and the majority of those games at home. That's there for them. And then the rest of the league injuries are part of the deal. For the Blazers, they're missing a bunch of quality role players. If Gary Payton returns on Friday, it'll be a big part of tomorrow's show in the preview. We'll check the injury report. But if not, that's up in the air, but Nazir Little's out, Justice Winslow's out. The Blazers have their top tier talent. They're missing role players, but around the league, the Phoenix Suns, who I'm recording this as none of the games have finished as I'm recording this on Wednesday. You are listening to Thursday, December 29th show. The Suns announced today that Devin Booker is going to be out at least a month with a hamstring injury. Suns are in 5th place. Devin Booker is their engine. Add him to Cameron Johnson, who's missed games, and Jay Crowder, who's just straight up not playing. And the Suns are due to slip. They have been good when Devin Booker plays. They are not nearly as good, and it is too big of an ask on 37-year-old Chris Paul. When Book plays, the Suns are championship level good. When he doesn't play, they are a middling team at best. They're going to miss him for a month. There are challenges ahead for Phoenix. Absolutely challenges ahead for Phoenix. The Blazers are, a couple games back of them in the standings. They're currently in 8th as I record this. The 6th place Mavs, who just won an absolutely bonkers game at home against the Knicks on Tuesday evening, where they came back from down 9 with 30 seconds left, and Luka Doncic had 60 points, 20 rebounds, and 10 assists. Herculean stuff from Luka. He is missing role players, though. Maxi Kleber has had hamstring surgery. He's out for a long time. May return this season. They're missing Dorian Finney-Smith, who has a groin injury. Like key role players, guys who played huge minutes when they made the Western Conference Finals. Like they are crucial to what they want to do. Like when big wings come to town, Dorian Finney-Smith gets the first crack at him, Maxi Kleber gets the second crack at him, and then Reggie Bullock gets the third crack at him. Like that's hugely crucial to their identity, and some better floor spacing options than what the big men Dwight Powell and JaVale McGee offer Dallas. Like they are missing that. Obviously, it's just like a bunch of Christian Wood minutes, and he's been better 7 consecutive games with at least 2 blocks. Who knew? But Dallas missing crucial role players. They're sitting there in 6th. Like they're going to need Luka to be a monster. He might be a monster. Behind the Blazers in the standings, Golden State is without Steph Curry, who's out at least 2 more weeks. He's going to be reevaluated in 2 more weeks, but 2 more weeks without Steph Curry in the lineup, and the Warriors are worse for it. Like, they bounced back and got a really nice win on Christmas over a very good Grizzlies team. And like, they have Jordan Poole is a bucket. Klay Thompson, when he's good, is good. When he's been up and down, though. And there are moments when Draymond Green reminds you that he is still a very special player, but they have been inconsistent, very inconsistent, and they get inconsistent play from the back half of their bench, which is a bunch of youngsters and veterans who don't quite fit. Dante DiVincenzo's rounding into form and all those things. None of those dudes are Steph Curry. The Warriors are in 10th place, missing their best player. The Blazers have to take advantage of this opportunity. And in 11th place, the Wolves, who we thought would be like right in the mix for probably competing for a home court advantage type playoff spot. They're in 11th. Karl Anthony Towns, the earliest, he'll likely won't be back till the middle of January, if not later. It's everybody's missing parts. Not everybody. I mean, around the league, people get injured, but like key teams in the West, who like Golden State and Minnesota, who you thought be in the mix, and Phoenix and Dallas, who are in the mix, missing parts. The Blazers are missing parts too. Injuries are absolutely just like part of how this all works. It is in general, it evens out, quote unquote, around the league. It's like you have good luck or you have bad luck. If Portland maintains relative health, knock on wood, I'll do it for you. But like it maintains relative health and takes care of business, they are bound for a successful January and a chance to climb out of 8th and climb the standings. It's not a runaway and hide situation. Right now, the Blazers are 4.5 games out of first place as I record this, and 4 games out of 13th. A bad week, like a tough week, you're out of the play-in. A really hot week, a really hot couple weeks with a soft schedule, you are 2nd or 3rd in the West. That is how close it is. Teams at the top of the standings, Denver's getting healthier. Memphis, has most of their folks back. At some point, Brandon Ingram is going to come back and join the Pelicans. Like, folks at the top of the standings in the West, they're healthy. Health matters, or getting healthier. In New Orleans' case, they just won without their guys. That's their trick. It's part of it. The Blazers don't have to apologize. They have to go take advantage. The opportunity is right there in front of them. Take care of business in all the TCB games. Home games against below 500 teams. win a couple on the road against below 500 teams, and just split the tough ones. You split Cleveland, 2 against Dallas, Denver, and Philly. You go 500 in those games, you are in such a good spot. You are in such a good spot. You are like comfortably at the end of January. You are 4th in the West. And that's, it gets harder in March for the Blazers. They got a 6-game road trip and they play a handful of other road games. Like it gets hard again in March. Now is the time to do it. From January 10th until the All-Star break, 4 total road games. 4 total road games. Go win the games at home. Go into the All-Star break, and that'll be past the trade deadline in a comfortable position. Go take advantage of it while it's there, because it's absolutely there for you. The opportunity starts Friday. January is the month to solidify yourself as a legitimate playoff team. If you sink, it does not bode well. If you tread water, you don't set yourself up as well as you could. If you just take advantage, which the opportunity is there, you are in such a good spot. They got to take advantage of it. January is there for them. Home heavy. Home heavy. How heavy is it? All right, so close the show. Guess what? Jusuf Nurkic is on pace to be the greatest three-point shooter the Blazers have ever had playing the center position. The best long-range bombing big man that ever wear a Blazers uniform. I got the numbers and I will tell you about it. But first, let me tell you that this episode is brought to you by the National Highway Traffic and Safety Administration. Look, if you're thinking about going out and having a time with your friends, partying a little bit because it's New Year's Eve, you can get yourself in a spot where you have a few too many drinks and you might think to yourself, I don't need a ride home. I live nearby. I can make it. No big deal. What are the odds that I get pulled over anyways, you might ask yourself. And even so, what's the worst that could happen? Well, it's a lot. Your insurance could go up. You could lose your license. You could lose your job. You could total your car. You could kill somebody. Everyone knows about the risks of driving drunk. The results are tragic and often deadly. However, that still doesn't stop everyone from getting behind the wheel under the influence. That's why police officers are out there right now looking for impaired drivers on our roads to save lives. So if you think you're okay to drive after a few drinks, think again. Play it safe and plan ahead to get a ride. It only takes one mistake to change your life or someone else's forever. Drive sober, get pulled over. Still a pass first point guard. I'm still Mike Richmond. You are still listening to Locked On Blazers. Jusuf Nurkic made 5 3-pointers against the Charlotte Hornets on Monday. Jusuf Nurkic is shooting 46% from 3. Jusuf Nurkic, the Bosnian Beast, the man you know and love, is on pace to become the greatest 3-point shooting center in Trailblazers history. The greatest long-range marksman over 7 feet to ever don the pinwheel. I cannot believe it. I cannot believe it. I've been sitting here on this podcast. Literally last season on this podcast, I had a guest on, Mark Schindler of a bunch of places, Indy Cornrows, and he podcasts for The Athletic, and he's prolific basketball person and just a basketball brain. And he asked me, like, how tired are you of Jusuf Nurkic shooting above the break 3-pointers? So that's like non-corner threes. I said, dog, I'd be cool if he never took one ever again. I told Jusuf Nurkic to never take an above the break 3 ever again. It was like a year ago. It's like a year ago in the space, maybe 14 months, but it was into the winter season. I was wrong. Jusuf Nurkic is shooting 48% on above the break threes, 38% on corner threes. He just doesn't take many. He's 3 of 8 from the corners this year, according to Cleaning the Glass. I think that's just like, you're talking one shot. He makes one shot. He's shooting 50% from the corners. Dude's bombing from deep. He is 26 of 56 on the season. He's taken about 2 a game, 1.9 a game, and making just shy of 1. That's 46%, about half. 26 of 56 on the season. When he attempts his next 3-pointer against the Golden State Warriors, he will set a career high for 3-pointers attempted with 57. Last year, 15 of 56 from 3 in 56 games. He was taking about 1 a night, or exactly 1 a night on average. 15 of 56, shooting below 30% from 3. I was over it. I said, I do not want to see it anymore. I'm like, Not only did I not like it because he shot bricks, he's shooting under 30%, but it takes away what makes Nurk special. He's gigantic. Get in the paint, go mix it up, get an offensive rebound, roll to the rim, like get in there and score where you're capable. Standing out by the 3-point line takes you both. He wasn't making threes, and it was taken away from what he does well. This year, his spacing changes the whole calculation for the Blazers. Not like wildly, right? He's not, there was the year that Channing Frye went from playing for the Blazers where he didn't really shoot threes, and he joined the Suns, and they were just like, yeah, shoot as many as you want. And he became this like long range bomber, and he was like absolutely broke things for the Suns because you had a dude who's 6'11", 7 feet tall, who's just launching threes, like just absolutely getting them up. It's not even in the mold of Brook Lopez, who was taking like 6 a game at his peak. And it's like, oh, he's going to pop on pick and pops. Like, you have to go get him. Nurk's not even really running pick and pops. He's mostly just spacing to the 3-point line when an action is away from the Blazers, because his man is naturally going, or when the Blazers are running action away from him, because his man is naturally going to go help. Like if they're running a pick and roll on the opposite side, Nurk's man is a center. He's going to roll. That person's going to roll into the paint and say, I'm going to keep you away from the rim. And Nurk is feasting, taking advantage, spacing, particularly to the wings, like to the foul line extended 3-point area. That's where he's bombing away. It's not like he's setting screens and popping his feet out real quick and launching 3-pointers like Kevin Love. He's not doing that. But the calculation that this dude shoots threes changes the way defenses have to guard the Blazers. It has started. The littlest moments you see it where a guy takes half a step towards Nurk and he doesn't help into the paint, and that opens up a drive, or Nurk catches it and the defense moves to him. They say, okay, you have to close out. And because of that closeout, you can swing the ball, or you can cut in behind him and make it happen. Nurk's not going to attack closeouts off the bounce. Like, that's not going to happen. He's not going to see someone charging at him at the 3-point line and like put it on the floor and dunk. Like, in fact, please don't dribble Nurk, lumbering towards the rim from 25 feet out. You will run someone over and they will call you for a foul. Do what you do best. And apparently what you do best is shoot 3-pointers. Also, don't listen to me because I have been dead wrong. Nurk shooting threes changes the geometry of the court. The Blazers desperately need more 3-point shooting. Man, desperately might be an overstatement. They need more 3-point shooting, period. And Nurk being a willing 3-point shooter is valuable. Kevin Pelton of ESPN.com has written about this, and he's convinced me just in chatting with him is that volume, like willingness to take 3-pointers, is almost more valuable than making threes. Guys who shoot well from deep, but people don't perceive them to be good 3-point shooters, a la Grant Williams in Boston, you don't get closed out on strongly. But if you continue to shoot, yeah, people will close out on you. Another thing for my nerds out there, and let me just say this. 3-point shooting stabilizes the statistically over about 750 attempts. So Nurk's only about 700 attempts away from normalizing as a 40% 3-point shooter. I'm not sure that he gets there. I'm not sure he's like a 40% 3-point shooter. Shoots a bunch of open ones though. Shoots a bunch of wide open ones. And he was getting open ones in the past and missing them too because they just weren't guarding him. They'll become a little bit less open as they go forward. But let's say Nurk is like a 38% shooter on only wide open attempts. It changes the Blazers' offense, changes the look, and it allows more just release valves for if you drive to the rim, or if there's a trap on the opposite side of the floor, trapping Dame or trapping Anthony Simons. Just more positive release valves. Nurk can be that guy. His 3-point shooting changes the geometry of how you have to guard the Blazers. And here's what I promised. He's on pace to become the greatest, the most prolific 3-point shooter in Trailblazers history. There have been 8 such seasons where a player listed at 7 feet or taller for the Portland Trailblazers has made at least 25 3-pointers. Jusuf Nurkic has made 26. Arvydas Sabonis owns 3 of them. Myers Leonard owns 2 of them. Zach Collins owns 2 of them. Myers Leonard, in the 2018-2019 season, the year that the Blazers went to the Western Conference Finals, became the first Blazer big man in team history to make at least 53 pointers, big man like center, 53 pointers in a season. He was 50 for 111. Arvydas Sabonis in the 96-97 season went 49 for 132. Man, Vitas had it, man. He had it. Sabas just needed one more 3. He would have been had that clean round 50 tie with Myers as the most prolific three-point shooter in NBA history. If Nurk continues at this pace, he's on pace to play 72 games. He's appeared in 88% of the Blazers games throughout a season. That's 72 games. If he appears in 72 games and makes them at this clip, 46%, he will easily eclipse the Myers-Leonard number, making 64 three-pointers. Nurk's going to cruise past. If he dips, he is still on pace to make more three-pointers than any Blazer has in the history of the franchise. Yeah, the league is different now. Yeah, someone Nurk's size would not have been asked to do this. They would have been shunned for doing it not even that long ago. Like in 2013, it would have been unacceptable for Jusuf Nurkic to launch 2 3-pointers a night. And yeah, the best shooting big man in Blazers history is actually Cliff Robinson. He was 6'10", played a little power forward, played a little bit of center, had 3 consecutive seasons when he made at least 133s. Cliffy was actually a long-range bomber. He was taking 400 three-pointers. But by then, with Chris Dudley and Mark Bryant and Harvey Grant on the team, he was more of a 3. He was more of a small forward then. But and the cutoff I was using to find the Nurk number is like 7-footer. It's all arbitrary, but it's fun. And the real thing, even if this isn't historic or all those things, the real thing is that Nurk shooting threes is a weapon and a useful one now. He's had 7 games where he's made at least 2 3-pointers this year. I don't think you want Nurk taking 7 threes a game. Like that's what he took against the Hornets. Take 7 threes if you've made 5, right? But it is a useful tool that he has in his tool belt that he is comfortable shooting, and defenses know they have to guard, and that's what changes the game. The awareness that when you watch film, yeah, the big dude shoots threes, 27, he shoots threes. You do have to close on him. Like, you don't have to close hard, but you have to close on him. That alone in the scouting report is enough to change the way he gets guarded and make it easier on Dame and Ant and Jeremy Grant and Josh Hart and others to get where they want to go, because the tallest person on the court has to respect the big dude for the Blazers launching 3-pointers, because he's making 46% of them, and he's taking at least 2 a night. Well, not quite, 1.9, but more, he's uptick recently in 3-point attempts. Nurk, the greatest big man shooter in Trailblazers history. Maybe, or at least someone who shoots 3-pointers now. That's going to do it for today's show. Thanks for listening. Make the show your first listen every single weekday, Monday through Friday, free on all platforms, wherever you get podcasts, and also on YouTube. Tell your friends. Also tell your friends to make their second listen, Locked On Sports Today, 22-minute program covering all the biggest stories across all of the major sports leagues. Check it out. Come back for tomorrow's show. We'll talk about that Golden State Warriors game, talk a little about whether Gary Payton's going to come back with a heavy eye on that injury report. I appreciate you listening. I'll talk to you soon.